Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Group. I am your host Ryan, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at AEW Revolution pay-per-view that takes place tonight. And I will give you my predictions on who I think wins each match, and why don't you play along too and leave your match predictions in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button while you do. So for this, we're going to run through the main cards matches, and I'll give you my predictions on who I think will win each match. I'm not going to look at the pre-show card, as there's about 5 or 6 matches announced on that. But basically for time, we're going to keep it as main card only. So we're going to start with the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Now, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin have been dominant since debuting in AEW, and in January they were able to capture the AEW Tag Team Championships, defeating Private Party on the January 22nd episode of Dynamite. The Outrunners have become one of the most over teams in the company over the past year, but are yet to hold any sort of tag team gold. In fact, both of these teams can be considered as fan favourites going into this match at Revolution, as the fans are right behind the Hurt Syndicate as well, chanting "We hurt people" as soon as they come to the ring. For me though, I expect that Lashley and Benjamin will have absolutely too much for the Outrunners here. The power and sheer athletic ability between the pair will have them probably dominate, to be honest, and I doubt that they will have any issues at all in picking up the victory and retaining their titles. So Private Party didn't actually hold the tag belts for that long and had pretty much a forgettable reign. I can't see it being the same for the Hurt Syndicate. They need to build the tag division back up in AEW, and having dominant champions will help them to do that. There's also talks of the Young Bucks returning to AEW very soon, so could we see them maybe face off with the Hurt Syndicate at Revolution? Or don't forget, we've also got Murder Machine waiting for the shot at the Tag Championships too. So next match we're looking at is Kazuchika Okada versus Brody King for the AEW Continental Championship. After facing and defeating Buddy Matthews at AEW Grand Slam, I wondered how long it would be until we saw Okada defend his championship against Brody King. Now, I am a massive fan of both these guys, and I can't wait to see them face off at Revolution. Brody has had a really strong showing in the last 2 Continental Classic tournaments, which has given him the opportunity to show just how good of a singles competitor he can be outside of Buddy Matthews and, of course, the outgoing Malachi Black. Kazuchika Okada, on the other hand, won the Continental Championship, defeating Eddie Kingston on the 20th of March last year, meaning that we are coming up on a full year reign as champion. Okada even managed to keep hold of his title through last year's Continental Classic tournament. For me though, since Kenny Omega's return at AEW in January and they faced off in the ring, the goal seems clear. Omega versus Okada at All In Texas. So I don't see Okada dropping this title before that match in the summer. So I'm going for a Kazuchika Okada retain. Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe for the TBS Championship. So speaking of long title reigns, Mercedes has now held the TBS Championship for over 290 days, since winning it back at Double or Nothing last year. She has quickly become one of the top stars of the AEW women's division. In fact, I would say she is top 3 along with Mariah May and Toni Storm. Athena would be in the mix, but unfortunately she's in Ring of Honor and never appears on AEW TV. Now, speaking of Athena, that is how Momo got her shot back at Wrestle Dynasty in January. She won the first International Women's Cup, defeating Athena, Persephone and Willow Nightingale after she used a bat on Athena with the ref distracted. Winning this cup meant she could challenge for any championship she wanted from the promotions involved. Now, many did expect that to be Athena and the Ring of Honor Championship, but Momo chose Monet, as they have already have a history, having faced last year at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Capital Collision for another of Mercedes championships, the New Japan Strong Women's title. If this match at Revolution was for that title, then I would have said Momo gets the win, but as it's for the TBS Championship, I'm going for the Mercedes Moné retain. Up next, we look at Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. Now, this is the match I expect to be match of the night. Two of the best in AEW right now, both have very similar styles, having spent years together in the United Empire before Don Callis got involved, that is. When Will Ospreay first came to AEW as a full member of the company, he was part of the Don Callis family, and Don had him face every member of the group, including Kyle Fletcher, with Will Ospreay getting the victory in his first singles match on Dynamite as a full-time AEW wrestler. A few months later, seeing Ospreay and Fletcher get an opportunity to become AEW Tag Team Champions, but they were unsuccessful in their match, which would end up leading to a Kyle Fletcher heel turn on Will Ospreay at Wrestle Dream back in October of last year. Since then, Fletcher's bloomed under the guidance of Don Callis, becoming easily the most improved wrestler over the last year. Fletcher and Ospreay would then face again at Full Gear, Fletcher this time getting the victory, proving himself to be AEW's latest rising star. During the Continental Classic tournament, they would face off one more time in a singles competition, with Ospreay getting the victory and eliminating Fletcher in the semi-finals. Ospreay and Omega would then team together to take on the Don Callis family and would defeat Takeshita and Fletcher at AEW Grand Slam Australia, leading to Omega taking on Takeshita and Ospreay once again setting his sights on the Protostar at Revolution. Now, this match could easily go either way, and honestly, I have gone back and forth with my prediction, but I'm going for the Will Ospreay to get the victory and end the feud as he moves on towards another singles championship in AEW. Up next, Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet in a number one contenders match, with the winner getting a future shot at the AEW World Championship. Now, since leaving the world of sports entertainment, Ricochet has unfairly received a lot of hate online, mainly from WWE fans, for his lack of character and promo work. But as we've seen many times before, when you aren't restricted to what you're allowed to do or say, it can become the making of you as a complete professional wrestler. And that is just what's happened here. There was no doubt in Ricochet's in-ring ability, that's for sure, but now he has shown just how good he can be on the microphone and in big main event storylines too. Ricochet has become one of the top heels in AEW since Swerve Strickland embarrassed him by throwing toilet paper on Ricochet in the ring in front of everyone. Without realising it, he awoke in a dark and evil side of Ricochet, which would see him stab Swerve in the head with a pair of scissors in a brutal attack a few months back. Ricochet would then pick up a victory against Swerve on the February 5th edition of Dynamite in controversial fashion after an indirect low blow, with fans questioning if it was actually on purpose and cleverly thought out. Since then, we have seen Ricochet parade around in Swerve's manager's jacket, which Swerve had worn to the ring. Prince Nana has begged Swerve to get his robe back, as it represents respect and honour, something that Ricochet does not have. And Prince Nana has even gone and said if Swerve can't get his robe back, then he doesn't know whether he will continue to be his manager. This match is going to be epic, but with a chance at the AEW World Championship on the cards, you have to expect Swerve Strickland gets the victory as he looks to make his way back to being the best in the world and capture the championship one more time. Up next, it's Kenny Omega versus Takeshita for the AEW International Championship. Now, this rivalry has been going on now for well over a year, ever since Don Callis turned on Omega and handpicked Takeshita to become the quote-unquote new Kenny Omega. They have faced off a number of times in multi-man matches, each getting victories over the other. But it was back at All Out 2023 when Takeshita defeated Omega in their only singles match in AEW to date. After picking up the pinfall victory over Takeshita during the tag team match at AEW Grand Slam I mentioned earlier, Omega earned himself a chance at revenge and also the AEW International Championship. Now, Takeshita has held the title for over 140 days and has defended it all over the globe, appearing in different promotions such as MLP and New Japan Pro Wrestling. He has defended it at Wrestle Kingdom and was able to capture the Never Openweight Championship at the same time, defeating Shingo Takagi in a title versus title match. As I mentioned earlier, I think the goal is to see Omega vs Okada at All in Texas, so I've gone for an Omega win here, which would set up a match for both belts on the line this summer at All In. Takeshita also has his New Japan Championship and also has a contract for the company, so we could see Takeshita leave for the short stint for New Japan afterwards. Up next sees the timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship in a Hollywood-ending match. This has simply been the best rivalry of AEW's women's division in history. The heel turn of Mariah May after she won the Owen Hart Cup was brutal, turning their once close friendship into bitter enemies. This would lead to Mariah May becoming the AEW Women's Champion, defeating Toni Storm at All In Wembley last year in her home country of England. Toni would then take a few months out of AEW while Mariah successfully defended the title, building her own legacy and solidifying herself as one of AEW's top talents. When Toni returned, she would return as Rocker Toni Storm rather than Timeless, and would have everyone believe she had no memory of being Timeless or ever being in AEW, in fact. And after she earned her chance at the AEW Women's Championship one more time, she would then face her rival at AEW Grand Slam. She would actually reveal she'd been playing a role all this time, and she would actually still be Timeless Toni Storm. At Grand Slam Australia, Toni was able to become AEW's Women's Champion for a record 4th time, defeating Mariah May in her home country. Both women have defeated the other on home turf, if you like, whereas at Revolution it's going to be on neutral grounds, so neither will have the upper hand. The fact that this match is anything goes gives both women the opportunity to go all out, as we expect this to be the end of such a memorable feud. With Toni only just picking up the title, I would expect her to get the victory at Revolution and retain the AEW Women's Championship. Up next, we look at MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. When I look at both of these two guys, they are exactly what I would class as AEW homegrown talent. Yes, they have both worked for other promotions before, Hangman with Ring of Honor and MJF with MLW. But it has been in AEW where they have both been able to come into their own and become stars in the world of pro wrestling. AEW gave them the platform to show the world that what they could do if given the right opportunity, and both guys have experienced the absolute top, with both of them becoming AEW World Champions. If you go back to the very start of AEW in 2019, Hangman Page won a Casino Battle Royal for the chance to become the inaugural AEW World Champion, facing Chris Jericho at All Out. Now, during this Casino Battle Royal, he last eliminated MJF for the opportunity. Now, shortly after that, we've seen MJF versus Hangman Page in a singles match, and the winner of the very first AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring. MJF, of course, would go on to win this match. But since then, we haven't really seen anything of these two facing each other since. 5 years later, and they are ready to go at it one more time. As I said before, both these guys in that time have become AEW World Champions, as they both became top guys within the company. It will be interesting to see which way they go with this match at Revolution, as I think this could literally go either way. For me though, I'm going to go with MJF to win by heel tactics, which allows this feud to continue going forward. So now this leads us to the main event of the evening. Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland for the AEW World Championship. It's mad to think that this will be the very first time these two guys will face in a singles match in their careers, as by the time Mox debuted in WWE, Cope had already been forced into retirement. And then 8 years later, when Cope made his shocking comeback to wrestling in the Royal Rumble, Mox had already left for AEW. So I'm glad AEW are giving us the opportunity to see this match for the very first time and for it to main event a pay-per-view as it should. Having said all that, try to keep up with me with this prediction, as I feel this one is going to be full of shenanigans. So I feel like Wheeler Yuta will get involved in this match after the way it went down on Dynamite, with Copeland shaking his hand before he went on to shove Mox and walk away from him. I think he will still be in Mox's side for now. A Wheeler face turn is on the cards, but it needs more time to build first. When he stood up to Mox, there was a Wheeler chant, so the fans are ready to love him. I feel that the eventual face turn will see Danielson return once again to AEW in some capacity on screen. So Yuta is out there for Mox, and then comes Jay White down to take out Yuta and even the score. We know he's going to be there to cheer on Cope, as he told us so on Dynamite. So I'm actually going for an Adam Copeland win here. I think he's going to pin Mox to become the new AEW World Champion. Then as he's celebrating in the ring with Jay White, Jay turns on him and lays him out with a Blade Runner before leaving the arena. Next out comes Cope's old rival, Christian Cage. He signs the contract and quickly becomes AEW World Champion. So my prediction is Christian Cage ends the night as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Now, the main reason for this is Christian has that contract, and for the first cash-in, if you like, in AEW's history, then it needs to be a successful one if they're going to be doing it again in the future. To do it on Cope makes sense, as they have the history there, and if he was to do it on Mox, then I'd say that would automatically turn one of them babyface, which for me, you don't want to do. This way would also set up future feuds. As I said earlier, I think that Swerve becomes the number one contender. So that will put him against Christian, who he already has a brief history with, and Cope will want to get his hands on Jay White. That gives both of them their next feuds and puts Jay back as a heel, which I think definitely works better as. We can then also revisit Christian versus Cope afterwards. Whether that actually be for the AEW World Championship or not remains to be seen. Also, if Swerve actually does defeat Christian in the future to become the champion, it could then lead to Swerve as the top babyface of the company versus Jay White as the top heel of the company. So either way, if you look at my previous predictions, there's always a way and it brings back to Jay White becoming the AEW World Champion. That is my motive. Mox will probably take some time off TV, maybe another short stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling before returning and starting the Yuta face turn storyline. So the way I've booked it, it not only gives us the pay-per-view predictions, but it also predicts the next few months of AEW television and feuds. Are you still with me? Good. That was a bit mad, I know, but that's how I see it all panning out. Now, the question is, do you agree with my predictions and my wild fancy booking at the end there? Let me know in the comment section below, and as always, don't forget to hit that like, comment and subscribe to the wrestling group today.